In 1975, the landscape of organized crime was undergoing significant changes, nearly 12 years after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The Kennedy administration had initiated a vigorous campaign against organized crime, aiming to dismantle its deep-seated influence, which pervaded the CIA, FBI, IRS, and other U.S. government agencies. However, Kennedy's assassination halted these efforts abruptly. The resurgence of hope appeared briefly in 1968, when Robert F. Kennedy seemed poised to return to the White House. But his assassination, occurring just 1 month after Martin Luther King Jr., left organized crime's power largely unchallenged. These events fueled public distrust and spurred demands for a closer examination of both the Kennedy assassination and the CIA's covert operations during the early 1960s, particularly those aimed at eliminating Fidel Castro. This period marked a pivotal moment for the Chicago outfit. The outfit was grappling with unwanted attention due to Sam Giancana's involvement in hearings about Kennedy's assassination. Giancana, a notorious mobster, was known for collaborating with the CIA alongside mob figures like Johnny Roselli and, through intermediaries like Robert Maheu, to orchestrate attempts against Castro. Giancana's connections extended across various government agencies and organized crime families, including the Trafficante family, which also had ties to CIA operations. Despite the precarious position Giancana found himself in, he continued to amass wealth through illicit activities in Mexico, involving narcotics trafficking and gambling. He leveraged his relationships within the Teamsters and was helped by Jimmy Hoffa when he finally got out of prison, and his organized crime ties with Carlos Marcello. Upon his return to the United States, the leadership of the Chicago outfit demanded proof of his loyalty, which could have spared him and allowed him to testify at the HSCA hearing. However, Giancana defied the Chicago outfit's leadership. In response, they deemed him a liability and dispatched Dominic "Butch" Blasi, a trusted associate of Tony Accardo placed within Giancana's inner circle, to handle the situation. Despite their close relationship, Blasi's loyalty was ultimately to Accardo. The confrontation ended tragically when Blasi fatally shot Giancana. Butch was the last person known to have seen Sam Giancana alive. However, since Giancana's murder remains unsolved, the allegations against Butch are just that: unsubstantiated claims. Staging the scene to implicate the Trafficante crime family, in a bid to mislead authorities about their involvement in anti-Castro plots. The fallout from these events was profound, shaking the foundations of organized crime and signaling the beginning of the end for many of its then leaders. This assassination and its intricate backstory made headlines, igniting a series of investigations and revelations that would expose the tangled web of mafia connections and government complicity. In subsequent articles, I will delve deeper into the history of the Chicago outfit, exploring the reign of Tony Accardo after I finished the series on New York with Carlo Gambino, the final King of New York. This historical narrative aims to shed light on the complex interplay of power, loyalty, and betrayal that has shaped the American criminal underworld. I hope you found this article enlightening and look forward to sharing more about Chicago's infamous organized crime legacy. Police watching the Oak Park home of Mafia. Chief Sam "Momo" Giancana, on the night he was killed, stated that Giancana was assassinated by his own crime syndicate to prevent him from talking. The killer, who shot Giancana gangland style, once in the mouth, 5 times in the neck, and once in the back of the head, may have passed directly under the gaze of lawmen. Agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Chicago Police Intelligence Division were keeping the house under surveillance. The investigators staked out at Giancana's home Thursday night, making notes of car license plates, and visitors at a welcome home party for the mob chieftain. Giancana recently made headlines as the reputed mastermind behind a Central Intelligence Agency mafia plot to assassinate Cuban leader Fidel Castro. He was also in the news as a witness under immunity testifying before a grand jury about his syndicate ties. He was therefore being careful to maintain a low profile. Nevertheless, Chicago police and the FBI had been informed by Houston police that Giancana would return here Thursday from a Houston hospital where he had undergone gallbladder surgery. Expecting the welcome home party. Thursday, police observed Giancana's relatives, syndicate cronies, and possibly the killer come and go throughout the evening. Police believe Giancana's fellow syndicate bosses feared he would break under pressure before the grand jury and spill mob secrets that could lead to other gang leaders being indicted or spark a congressional investigation. Giancana had made 4 appearances before the jury and was scheduled to appear once more. The 67-year-old widower was found shot to death in a basement kitchen of his fortress-like Oak Park home at 1147 Winona Avenue. Police view the method as a traditional underworld warning to others who might be inclined to talk too much. Because his home was well protected and any outsider would have to deal with Giancana's associates, police believe the killer was someone he trusted and admitted into the house. Among guests at the welcoming party were Charles Chucky English, jukebox racketeer and gambling kingpin, and Giancana's longtime bodyguard and general flunky Dominic Butch Blasi. Also present, according to police, were 2 of Giancana's 3 daughters and his sons-in-law. One son-in-law, Jerome De Palma, accompanied the mobster home from Houston, and De Palma's American Express credit card was used to pay Giancana's hospital bill. A spokesman for the state attorney's office said all of the party guests will be called before a county grand jury investigating the slaying. Federal authorities speculated that the assassin might have been among the group that attended the party and possibly was the last to leave. They suggested that if the slaying was a crime syndicate execution, it could not have been carried out without going through Anthony Big Tuna Accardo, the mob's elder statesman. Giancana reportedly met, just 2 weeks ago, with Accardo and Joseph Doves Ayupa, a semi-retired Cicero rackets boss, to find out whether he was still in good standing with the mob. Police at the scene found that the aging crime chief had been hit by 6.22 caliber bullets, leading them to theorize that the hitman had secreted the small caliber pistol on his person, possibly tucked into his belt under a sports shirt, so as not to arouse Giancana's suspicion. Giancana was under extreme pressure, a police official said. He was probably paranoid and was being extremely careful whom he associated with. Oak Park Police Chief Wilbur Reichert said authorities are also looking into the similarity of the Giancana slaying to the shooting of Anthony Battaglia, 61, brother of the late Sam Teets Battaglia, who succeeded Giancana as boss of the Chicago mob. Idaho, Senator Frank Church, chairman of the committee investigating the Central Intelligence Agency, said Friday the committee will consider protecting its witnesses after the shooting death of Chicago crime syndicate chieftain Sam Giancana. But the Idaho Democrat, here for an inland waterway dedication, said he would give no credence to any suggestion that the CIA was in any way connected with the Thursday night slaying of Giancana. Giancana, 65, was linked recently to alleged CIA plots to kill Cuban Premier Fidel Castro and was scheduled to appear before the committee next week. Church said Giancana was to testify before a grand jury in Chicago probing organized crime and may have been shot to prevent him from giving testimony to that grand jury. "We have other witnesses who keep the same company as Giancana," Church said, explaining why protection might be needed. In Washington, a source close to the congressional investigations of the CIA said that at least one of the committees will almost certainly look into the murder of Giancana. Giancana's death raised eyebrows among congressional investigators. "Who killed Giancana and why were among the first questions that came to my mind," said a congressional prober. "Unless there is proof or good reason to believe that it was strictly a mob affair, you can bet those questions will be asked in the investigation of the CIA." The source added that either the Senate or the House Intelligence Committees will investigate the killing. Senator John Tower, Republican of Texas, Vice Chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, told reporters Friday, "We have noted with intent that he, Giancana, was done away with. He had been contacted by some of our staff. The committee had not taken the decision to call on him as a witness." A spokesman added that the committee staff did not consider Giancana the most valuable witness in the investigation into the Mafia-CIA link in the Castro murder plot. Instead, the committee is counting on the testimony of John Roselli, another alleged underworld figure, to talk about the reported plots against Castro. Nevertheless, according to Richard Bissell, former CIA official in charge of such operations, Giancana was to be the perfect hitman against Castro. Just a month after Sam Giancana's murder, Jimmy Hoffa would disappear, adding to a string of mysteries linked to members of organized crime. Among them was Johnny Roselli, often seen as a liability within the organization, but who managed to survive until his murder in 1976. Roselli was a key informant on the connections between the Kennedy assassination, the CIA, and organized crime. He may not have fully grasped the extent of these ties. On my channel, I will delve into these deep connections, which include extensive drug operations involving the Italian Mafia, Mexican drug cartels, and the Southern Mafia, particularly Carlos Marcello, Santo Trafficante, Corsican Mafia, and various other criminal syndicates in the South. The mid-70s were a volatile period. Many were desperate to keep their secrets hidden, even if it meant eliminating top figures in organized crime.